Third, fourth and fifth dimension reality overview. When talking about esoteric topics such as third-dimensional reality, ascending into fifth-dimensional consciousness, or raising your vibration, it can begin to sound like we are explaining the plot to a science fiction movie. Even for the seasoned spiritual seeker, trying to describe the intangible in words that make sense and are understandable to another person with no prior knowledge of such topics can be difficult. In order to better understand how dimensions work and what it means to be living in the third, fourth or fifth dimension, we must think of a dimension as a point of perception rather than an actual place to travel to. Those living from 3D, 4D, or 5D consciousness are experiencing the same reality, on some level, but rather their way of perceiving it is completely different. By seeing things this way, it gives us a better understanding of how we can identify what dimension we are mostly resonating with. Also, it is quite possible to be experiencing multiple dimensions of consciousness simultaneously, and as we wake up from third-dimensional consciousness through to the fourth into fifth, it is common for some aspects, belief systems, to still be rooted in 3D while other aspects are rooted in a higher dimension. While we may have many friends or family who are still rooted in third dimension, we find ourselves resonating with fifth-dimensional consciousness. It is important to remember that one is no better than the other. Each soul is experiencing their ascension journey in perfect timing. Trying to force someone who is rooted in 3D to see the world from a 5D perspective will not work until that person is energetically aligned to a frequency in which fifth-dimensional perspectives seem obvious rather than idealistic. The key to growth is the introduction of higher dimensions of consciousness into our awareness. Lao Tzu below are some examples of belief systems that are indicative of third, fourth and fifth dimensional reality. Third dimensional reality. The physical realm, birds born in a cage think flying is an illness. Alejandro Jodorowsky. In the third dimension, you see yourself as a separate entity in comparison to other people and the universe. You are still rooted in the physical world, and feel appropriate to judge people based on the color of their skin, age, gender, financial status, etc. I am a person, the thinker of these thoughts, and these thoughts are my thoughts. I seek happiness outside of myself. Things like money, material possessions, relationships, and physical attributes seem to be the key to my fulfillment. I must compete with others in order to make it so I can get my share of abundance. Life is characterized by polar opposites. There are good decisions and bad decisions, good thoughts and bad thoughts, good people and bad people. For example, the labels I have for myself define who I am as a person. Words like parent, wife, son, my job title, homeowner, etc. are how I identify myself in comparison to others. Fourth dimensional reality. The hallway into the fifth dimension. Consciousness begins to awaken. A shift in perspective makes the particles in your universe dance to new possibilities. Annie Kagan. As the light of consciousness begins to awaken within, your belief system of third-dimensional reality seems absurd. You may even become angry or resentful of the society that implanted these belief systems. In fourth dimension, comparison and judgment still exist, however, with more spiritual themes. For example, you may describe yourself as awake while judging those you feel are asleep. The attention has shifted from pursuits in the material world to the pursuit of knowledge and understanding. I am angry because I have been lied to. I must warn and tell others about the Illuminati, government, reptilians, chemtrails, etc. Since on some level I believe that I am my mind, I am weary of things like mind control or subliminal messages. I may take on a spiritually themed ego structure. In this case, I may judge those who still eat meat, watch the news, drive a car, etc. More knowledge and better understanding seem to be the key to my fulfillment. Ego is my ultimate enemy, and therefore my goal is to get rid of it. Fifth dimensional reality. Unity consciousness. The all is the one, and the one is the all. As consciousness begins to awaken even further, the ego drops and judgments begin to fade away. You realize that the darkness of the world is a direct reflection of the shadow that still exists inside of you. You no longer try to change the world, but rather begin to heal yourself. The love that grows within begins to translate into compassion and understanding for the external world. Love is the only weapon that truly holds power. I am no longer attached to my labels, but see myself as an ever-changing field of consciousness. I ultimately hold all the power to create my perception of reality. Nothing is inherently good or bad. Nothing has power over me or my reality unless I have on some level agreed to it. Judgment now has become discretion. Although I no longer judge people from a moral standpoint, I use discretion in what I spend my time and energy on. I am beginning to see that God, the universe, or source, lies within. As the master inside of me begins to awaken, I realize I have held the power all along. The fear of mind control and manipulation drops away.